We stand at a unique moment in the history of our planet. Our world, so full of life and wonder, is facing an unprecedented challenge. The climate is changing at a rate faster than anything we have seen in human history. The delicate balance that has sustained life for millennia is now under threat. We see it in the rising seas that lap at our coastlines. We feel it in the heat of longer, more intense summers. The evidence is all around us, from the melting ice of the polar regions to the shifting patterns of rainfall that affect farmers across the globe. This isn't a problem for the distant future. It is happening right here, right now. It is a crisis born of our own making, fueled by the energy that has powered our modern civilization for centuries. For generations, we have relied on fossil fuels. Coal, oil, and gas have built our cities, connected our world, and driven incredible progress. But this progress has come at a great cost. The burning of these fuels releases vast quantities of carbon dioxide into our atmosphere. This invisible blanket traps heat, steadily warming our planet and disrupting the natural systems we all depend upon. The consequences are becoming clearer with each passing year. Storms are growing stronger, droughts are becoming more severe, and entire ecosystems are struggling to adapt. The challenge before us is immense, perhaps the greatest our species has ever faced. We must find a new way to power our world, a way that works with nature, not against it. Yet, in the face of this daunting reality, a quiet revolution is underway. All across the globe, a new story is unfolding. It is a story of human ingenuity, determination, and hope. From the vast deserts bathed in sunlight to the windswept coasts of our great oceans, we are learning to harness the immense power of the natural world. This is the renewable energy revolution. It is a global movement, a collective effort to shift from the finite, polluting fuels of the past to the clean, abundant energies of the future. This transition is not just a dream, it is already happening. The question is no longer if we can change, but how fast we can do it. Look at our world today. The numbers tell a remarkable story. In just the last decade, the amount of energy we generate from the sun and the wind has skyrocketed. Costs have fallen dramatically, making these technologies competitive and in many places cheaper than their fossil fuel counterparts. This is more than just a technological shift. It is a fundamental transformation in our relationship with energy and with our planet. It represents a promise of a cleaner, more sustainable future. But promises alone are not enough. We must look at this revolution with clear eyes. The scale of our ambition is breathtaking to decarbonize our entire global economy. To achieve this, we are turning to an incredible array of technologies. We will journey into the heart of the solar revolution, exploring how simple silicon panels are turning sunlight into electricity on a massive scale. We will stand in the shadow of colossal wind turbines, both on land and far out at sea, capturing the relentless power of the wind. We must also understand the critical role of energy storage, from giant batteries to ingenious systems that use gravity and water to hold power for when it is needed most. Our exploration will not stop there. We will investigate the potential of green hydrogen, a clean fuel that could power our heavy industries and long-distance transport. We will travel deep into the earth to understand geothermal energy. tapping into the planet's own natural heat, and we will see how artificial intelligence is becoming the invisible brain of this new energy system, orchestrating a complex dance between supply and demand to ensure the lights always stay on. To understand the real-world challenges and triumphs of this transition, we will focus our journey on three distinct parts of the world. In Germany, we will see a pioneering industrial powerhouse grappling with the complexities of its Energiewende, offering lessons for all nations. In the United States, we will witness a story of immense scale and innovation driven by both market forces and policy, but also shaped by deep political divisions. And we will travel to Indonesia, an archipelago nation on the front lines of climate change, which holds vast potential for geothermal and solar power, representing the opportunities and hurdles faced by the developing world. Their stories are a microcosm of the global effort. This brings us to the central question of our documentary, the one that truly matters. We see the hope, we see the progress, and we see the technology. But is it enough? Can this renewable energy revolution truly stop the climate crisis in time? In this film, we will strip away the hype and the headlines to find the truth. We will speak with the scientists, engineers, and policymakers on the front lines. We will look at the numbers, the limitations, and the breakthroughs. We will confront the hard realities and celebrate the inspiring successes. This is the real story of our race to zero, a race for the future of our planet. The clock is ticking. At the heart of our solar system, 93 million miles away, burns a star of unimaginable power, our sun. For billions of years, it has bathed our planet in light and warmth, providing the energy that fuels all life on Earth. Now we are learning to capture this ancient, abundant energy in a remarkably direct way. The technology is called photovoltaics, light to electricity. It all begins with a material you can find in sand, silicon, treated and sliced into thin wafers. Those wafers become solar cells. The process is a quiet miracle of physics. No moving parts, no noise, no emissions, an elegant, powerful idea. These cells are the building blocks of panels on rooftops and fields, powering a single home, powering an entire city. Think about the scale. Every single hour, the sun sends more energy to Earth than humanity uses in a year. We have been living on a planet soaked in free, clean energy, while we dug deep to burn ancient, finite fuels. The solar revolution corrects that oversight. The technology is not new, but first practical solar cell over 60 years ago. For decades, it was expensive, niche, but sustained effort by scientists, engineers, and policymakers changed everything. Relentless innovation and massive scaling cut costs faster than anyone predicted. Alongside the sun, another powerful and constant force shapes our planet's environment: the wind. It is an expression of the sun's energy, a result of the uneven heating of the Earth's surface. This constant movement of air carries a tremendous amount of kinetic energy. Today, we are harnessing it on an unprecedented scale to generate clean electricity. The modern wind turbine is a marvel of engineering, a graceful giant designed to capture this invisible force with remarkable efficiency. The principle is almost the opposite of a household fan. Instead of using electricity to create wind, a turbine uses wind to create electricity. The blades rotate, turning a central shaft. The gearbox increases the rotational speed, spinning a generator that converts the mechanical motion into electrical energy. These turbines have grown to incredible sizes. far out at sea, they are even bigger. A single rotation of one of these massive offshore turbines can generate enough electricity to power an average home for more than 2 days. It has become a cornerstone of the energy transition for many countries. They provide clean power, create jobs, and reduce reliance on volatile international fuel markets. Perhaps the most compelling part of the solar story and the wind story is the astonishing economic shift it has created. The cost of generating electricity from solar panels has plummeted by around 90% since 2010. Similarly, the cost of onshore wind power has fallen by over 70%. This dramatic cost reduction is the result of a virtuous cycle, a phenomenon known as a learning curve. For every doubling of installed capacity, the cost falls by a predictable percentage. Today, in most parts of the world, building a new solar farm or a wind farm is the cheapest way to generate electricity. In a growing number of regions, it is even becoming cheaper to build new renewables than to simply continue running existing fossil fuel power stations. Energy is no longer a choice between what is clean and what is cheap. The clean option is now the cheap option. The flow of capital is beginning to shift decisively towards the sustainable technologies of the future, driven not just by environmental concern, but by cold, hard economics. While the energy they produce is clean, solar and wind power are not without their own environmental footprint. To build solar panels and wind turbines, we need to mine and process raw materials. Beyond the materials, there is the question of land. Onshore wind farms can alter landscapes and pose risks to wildlife like birds and bats. For offshore wind, building massive structures far out at sea can disturb the marine environment during construction and alter local ecosystems on the seafloor. These are not reasons to abandon solar and wind, so the challenge is to be clear-eyed about their impacts and to actively work to mitigate them. Investing in recycling, engaging in smart land use planning. This is how we ensure our clean energy transition is truly sustainable from beginning to end. To accelerate the transition even further, scientists are looking beyond silicon. The most exciting of these are called perovskites. These are synthetic crystal-like materials that are astonishingly good at absorbing sunlight. Scientists are developing tandem solar cells that stack a thin layer of perovskite on top of a traditional silicon cell. This combination can smash through the efficiency ceiling of silicon alone, potentially boosting the power output of a single panel by 30% or more. The next frontier for wind is not just about size, it is about location. To unlock this vast, untapped potential, engineers are developing a groundbreaking new solution, floating offshore wind. And this frees the turbine from the depth limitations of fixed bottom foundations. Floating platforms can be deployed in waters hundreds of meters deep, opening up huge new areas of the ocean for wind energy development. The sun does not always shine and the wind does not always blow. This simple, undeniable fact lies at the heart of the greatest challenge facing the renewable energy revolution, the problem of intermittency. To build a world powered entirely by renewables, we must solve the other half of the equation: how to store clean energy for when it is needed most. This is the missing piece of the puzzle. The undisputed leader in this space is the lithium-ion battery. Driven by the explosive growth of electric vehicles, costs have plummeted, unlocking their potential to serve the power grid. They can perform many tasks, but their most important role is smoothing the variable output of renewables. A battery can inject electricity in a fraction of a second to keep supply seamless. To solve the challenge of a cloudy, windless week, we need a different class of technologies. Long duration energy storage, one of the most promising is the flow battery. Another approach is thermal storage. Some firms build crane-like towers that lift massive concrete blocks, storing energy as potential gravity. The electricity grid is one of the most complex machines ever built. And the renewable energy revolution is turning this model on its head. Power is now being generated everywhere. The new grid must be a dynamic multi-lane highway with traffic flowing in all directions. This requires significant physical upgrades, but upgrading the grid is not just about more wires. It is about adding a layer of digital intelligence. These devices provide grid operators with a real-time, high-resolution view of what is happening across the entire system. This visibility is essential for managing the variability of renewables. This smarter grid also empowers consumers. This is known as demand response. It helps balance the grid by shifting demand to match times of high renewable supply. Managing this new complex energy system is a task beyond human capability alone. The conductor of this new energy orchestra is artificial intelligence. One of the most critical applications of AI is in forecasting. AI models can predict with remarkable accuracy how much electricity a wind farm or a solar farm will generate. AI is also essential for optimizing the operation of the grid itself. It can automatically reroute power or predict when a transformer is likely to fail so it can be replaced proactively. AI is the key to coordinating the millions of distributed energy resources. An AI-powered platform can aggregate all of these small assets, known as a virtual power plant, turning millions of individual devices into a powerful tool for balancing the grid. But electricity cannot solve every part of the climate puzzle. There are sectors of our economy that are incredibly difficult to electrify directly. And to fully decarbonize, we need a clean alternative. That molecule is hydrogen. The real prize is green hydrogen, produced through a process called electrolysis, using clean electricity to split water. The potential is immense. Green hydrogen could be used to power large ships. It can replace coking coal in the steelmaking process, with water as the only byproduct. Aviation presents perhaps the most difficult challenge, and today the most promising path forward lies in sustainable aviation fuels, or SAFs, a direct drop-in replacement for conventional jet fuel. While we look to the sun and wind above, there is another colossal source of clean energy right beneath our feet. Geothermal energy, the Earth's own natural heat. Unlike solar and wind, geothermal power is not intermittent. It is a firm, baseload source of energy available 24 hours a day. A new generation of geothermal technology is poised to change that enhanced or next generation geothermal systems. This approach could potentially unlock geothermal energy as a universal resource. To see the potential of these technologies in the real world, we traveled to Indonesia. It is estimated that Indonesia holds around 40% of the entire global potential for geothermal power. This represents a monumental opportunity for a rapidly growing nation that is heavily reliant on coal. For Indonesia, developing its geothermal resources is a path toward energy independence and a cleaner future. However, development is not without challenges, raising important questions about land use and protecting biodiversity. Indonesia's story is a powerful example of the opportunities and trade-offs faced by many developing nations. Technology alone cannot win the race to zero. The speed and scale of our energy transition are ultimately determined by the rules of the game, and those rules are set by policy. One of the most powerful tools governments can use is putting a price on carbon pollution, like that makes polluting more expensive and clean energy more competitive. In the US, tax credits are making large-scale battery projects more financially attractive. In Germany's Energiewende, government policies kick-started the industry and drove down costs worldwide. But public money alone won't be enough. Most investment must come from the private sector. Pension funds, insurance companies, and global banks are hunting for green investments. The energy transition is more than just a technological and economic challenge. It is a profound social transformation. A just transition means ensuring that the benefits of the clean energy economy are shared by everyone. This means being intentional about where we build our new clean energy infrastructure, allowing residents to directly benefit from cheaper, cleaner power. It also means supporting the workers and communities that have depended on the fossil fuel industry, ensuring they are not left behind. This includes funding for job retraining programs and investments to attract new clean industries. Ensuring that our clean energy future is built on a foundation of ethical sourcing and resilient supply chains is a paramount challenge. This concentration creates geopolitical risks and potential bottlenecks. We began our journey with a single urgent question: can renewables truly stop the climate crisis? The answer we have found is both hopeful and deeply sobering. Renewables alone are not a silver bullet. The path forward is not one simple step, but 1,000 interlocking pieces. The technological building blocks for a zero carbon world are in our hands. However, technology is only a tool. The greatest barriers we face are not technological, they are political, economic, and social. So, the verdict is this: a renewable energy, when combined with storage, intelligent grids, clean fuels, sound policy, and massive investment, gives us a clear and viable pathway to dramatically cut our emissions and stabilize our climate. In the end, this complex story comes down to something much simpler: people. It is about our choices, our voices, and our collective determination to shape a better future. We must use our voices as citizens and consumers to hold them accountable. We must demand ambitious climate policies. Our collective voice is a powerful force. We can also make a difference through the choices we make every day. These individual actions, when multiplied by millions of people, create the cultural shift that underpins systemic change. We are the first generation to feel the impacts of climate change, and we are the last generation with a real chance to do something about it. We have the tools. We have the knowledge. The only remaining question is whether we have the will. The future of this beautiful, fragile, and wonderful planet is now in our hands. Let us be the generation that chose to protect it.